Alright, what's up, reviewers? This is Smooth the Reviewer, and today I wanted to talk about this anime series, The Apothecary Diaries, which was the second or third best show of the winter season, honestly. Like right behind Free Win and uh yeah, so if you don't know what the Diaries is, which I'm assuming most of anyone watching this video would know, so the Apothecary Diaries is about the main character here, Mao Mao, who got kidnapped in the first episode, and basically they put her up for her kidnappers basically sold her. They sold her to this palace, this imperial palace, because I believe this show is set in imperial China or something like that. And basically she has to work there now. So she has to work in the imperial palace for a few years to and it's made clear that she's essentially, at least for the first part of the show, she's working there, and she's basically the money she earns is going to her kidnappers, which is crazy. So yeah, this is the imperial palace, and basically there's a king or something like that, or a ruler who lives there, and then you have multiple concubines there too. So these women that just live there and basically are all are the king's women and all that. So but that's not the main focus of the show. I'm getting a little bit off track. So the main purpose of this anime, the Apothecary Diaries, is basically the whole show is basically kind of like mysteries, to be honest, along with medicine crap. You know what I mean? So this so the main character, Mao Mao, basically she solves a lot of mysteries inside the palace. So this guy Jinshi is basically, early on in the series, he notices that she's the one that sort of saved concubines from because a concubine's child died, and and Mao Mao's basically figured out the solution that hey, it was this sort of makeup powder that was killing the women in the palace. And so Jinshi figured out that she's the one that basically wrote a note and prevented anyone else from dying. So then after that, Jinshi basically sends Mao Mao on multiple mysteries. So Mao Mao is a detective in this place, man. She basically solves the mystery of what did she solve? What did she solve? So this woman died, and basically she gathered evidence about it. Like I said, she figured out why one of the concubine's children died. She figured out how to. Oh, right. That poison, right? She basically figured out also that someone was trying to poison and kill one of the women who are close to the king, because remember, she, like I said, she's an apothecary basically. So she literally loves basically eating and taking in poisonous things. And so after when she saves people from dying, she becomes a food taster for one of the concubines. Here, let me see if I can. One of the concubines, and basically, to prevent them from, getting poisoned and dying. This woman right here. I'm sorry, Gyokuo. Yeah. So she basically becomes a lady in waiting for this woman, and she tastes her food before she eats it to make sure it's not poison. And so, like I said, the whole show is just basically Mao Mao solving a bunch of mysteries that are happening around the palace. Not there's multiple people that sort of die, and it all leads up to her basically saving Jinshi's life in the very end. But like I said, this is a show that you just need to watch it in order to understand just how good it is and like basically how smart this character is. Because like Mao Mao is like such a good like main character, such a good like female protagonist that it's like very refreshing and like very good. And it's just you really just gotta watch it to see just like how amazing the main character is. So yeah, and so with that, since I'm over here like hyping it up and all that, I'll talk. I actually ended up giving it a 9 out of 10 on my anime list. So why did I give it a 9 out of 10? The only like this, so this would have been a perfect show. Honestly, this would have gotten a 10 out of 10. I swear it would have, if only the second half was as good as the first. So, like I said, this came out in winter, so literally just this past anime season. Aired from October 22nd to March 24th, and it had 24 full episodes. This had 24 full episodes. So the first 12 episodes are of her living with the woman I showed you guys earlier, Gyoko, and then she gets fired in the 12th episode, basically, because Jinshi here they both misunderstand each other, and there's not really good communication, so he basically fires her for no reason in like the 12th episode. But then they meet again inside, like outside the palace, because that's another thing. Mao Mao basically grew up in a red light district, and so that's why right here she's seen like with these like women behind her. She was basically grew up in a red light district, and like these are like her sisters behind her and like an old lady that runs like the house that they all live in. So they meet up at like sort of an event outside of the palace, and so Jinshi, and then they basically, you know, they figure out that they both misunderstood each other. And so Jinshi just hires her back inside the 12th episode. So then in the next 12 episodes, she's not living with the woman I showed you guys earlier, the concubine. She's living with Jinshi inside like a different part of the palace. So she's still in the palace, but it's just like a different section. And she's basically just taking on like completely new mysteries in a different area. And that is why this show is not a 10 out of 10 just for me. Like I could easily give this show a 10 out of 10, but I feel like I'd be lying to myself if I didn't say that the mysteries that she has to solve in the second half just aren't as it's not like they're not enjoyable. They're just not as good as the first half of the mysteries, okay? Like things were a lot more interesting when she was living with the other woman. Let me face. I'm sorry. Excuse my spelling, please. Like the mysteries were much more interesting when she was living with this woman, and she like interacted like with this woman also. When she was interacting with these like high-ranking women and like basically solving their problems, because that's another thing. This woman was going to die. That's another thing. Mao Mao basically saved this woman's life because she was getting killed by the same like powder. Like her servants were killing her unknowingly by giving her the same powder that killed her son. So it's like, so yeah, that's basically why it's not a 10 out of 10, because the second half, it's not like this. Again, the second half isn't bad. It's not bad. It's just not as strong as the first half. And like there were only, because like out of the whole show, I can think of just maybe 2 episodes that just were not, they weren't, like I said, no episode is bad in this show. No episode is bad, but there were these 2 episodes that just weren't as enjoyable as the other ones for me. And that was the episode where basically Jinshi wanted to like go into like outside the palace, but he basically asked Mao Mao to help him disguise himself. That episode was kind of boring, not gonna lie. And then also the episode where Mao Mao like helped those guys like figure out what caused like an explosion in the second half. It was just, yeah, where basically she just made like a small bomb and just like, you know, solved like a sort of like mystery of how like this shack blew up. That episode didn't really have much to it either. And those were the two episodes that just weren't as enjoyable for the other ones for me. Besides like maybe the very first episode or two also. But like I said, this show is like still great, still a very enjoyable show through and through, and yeah, it keeps you thinking because like, see, I know like I'm telling you guys to watch it, and I'm kind of like telling you like some of the things that are happened, but trust me, what I've said in this video, that's hardly even the beginning of the stuff that happens in their show. Like, there's so much more that happens in this show that, yeah, I can't fit it all into like one small video like I'm trying to now. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to end it. Like I said, I recommend you watching it, and I thoroughly enjoyed this show. And yeah, I just wanted to get this review out here now since it's like fully over, and I just, in full honesty, I was watching the dub, so I was waiting for the dub to finish airing so I could talk about it. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment too. Comment what you guys think about the series. Tell me what your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.